In late October 2003, a line of 10,000 people snaked through a parking lot in Beaver County, Pennsylvania. They wrapped around a shopping mall and stood in the cold for hours, some waiting 6, 7, or 8 hours just to get inside a makeshift medical tent. They were all waiting for a shot to potentially save their livers. This was the epicenter of the largest hepatitis A outbreak in modern United States history, and it traced back to a single, unlikely source, a Mexican restaurant. When we talk about disasters, we usually picture earthquakes or floods. But sometimes, the most devastating disasters are invisible, slow-moving, and begin with something as mundane as a dinner out. To understand what happened in Pennsylvania, you first have to understand the nature of the culprit. Hepatitis A is a highly contagious virus that attacks the liver. Unlike respiratory illnesses that you catch from a sneeze, hepatitis A is a foodborne pathogen. It is transmitted through what scientists clinically refer to as the fecal-oral route. I will leave the exact mechanics of that to your imagination, but the takeaway is simple. It means something went very wrong with food handling. But the virus has a terrifying characteristic. It has an incubation period of 2 to 6 weeks. You ingest the virus and you feel completely fine. You go to work, you see your friends, you live your life. Meanwhile, the virus is silently hijacking your liver cells, multiplying by the millions. By the time the jaundice sets in, by the time your skin and eyes turn yellow, and you are plunged into profound fatigue, you have absolutely no idea what made you sick. This incubation period is what turned this particular outbreak into such a profound medical mystery. When the first few people showed up at local hospitals with acute liver inflammation, doctors had no pattern to follow. But within days, the cases exploded into the dozens, then the hundreds. Health officials realized they were looking at a massive outbreak, but they faced a near impossible investigative hurdle. How do you interview a severely ill person about what they ate a month ago? Most of us struggle to remember what we had for lunch on Tuesday. Try recalling a specific appetizer from 4 weeks prior. Yet, as public health investigators hammered patients with questions, a statistical anomaly emerged. A staggering number of these people had eaten at the exact same place, a Mexican restaurant at the Beaver Valley Mall, during a 3-week window in late October. The restaurant was shut down immediately. Investigators in hazmat suits descended on the kitchen. They swabbed the countertops, they tested the prep tables, they cultured the salsa, the cheese, the meat. Everything came back negative. The kitchen wasn't dirty. The virus had been delivered to the kitchen. To find the killer, investigators had to rely on pure epidemiological math. They built massive databases, cross-referencing the meals of the sick against the meals of the healthy people who had eaten at the restaurant during the same time frame. They eliminated the steak. They eliminated the chicken. They eliminated the tortillas. Finally, the data pointed a definitive finger at one specific item: the green onions. If you have ever eaten at a restaurant, you know the green onion. It is the tiny, stringy green garnish sprinkled on top of your plate that you usually just scrape off to the side because it gets stuck in your teeth. It is the most inconsequential item on the menu, and in this case, it was a biological weapon. Tracebacks by the FDA revealed that those green onions had been grown in specific fields in Mexico. The irrigation water in those fields was contaminated with human waste. The onions were harvested, packed, shipped thousands of miles across the border, and delivered directly to that Pennsylvania shopping mall, still carrying the virus. Green onions are particularly adept at harboring pathogens because the virus can actually get pulled up inside the hollow tube of the green stalk as the plant grows, making it almost impossible to wash off. Once the green onions were identified, the FDA issued an unprecedented blanket ban on all green onions imported from Mexico. The mystery was solved. But the disaster was still unfolding. Because of that long incubation period, the 10,000 people who had eaten at that restaurant were all potential ticking time bombs. Hence, the massive lines in the parking lot. Health workers were administering immune globulin, a dense dose of antibodies that can neutralize the virus, but only if given within 14 days of exposure. For anyone exposed earlier than that, it was just a waiting game. Ultimately, 660 people were confirmed infected. 4 people died, including victims who suffered sudden, catastrophic liver failure. The fallout was absolute. The responsible company, which was already financially strained, was sued into oblivion. The parent company filed for bankruptcy, and the chain that once operated across North America ceased to exist entirely, all because of a garnish. Today, the 2003 Hepatitis A outbreak is considered a watershed moment in food safety. It forced a complete re-evaluation of the American food supply chain. It proved that our modern agricultural system, where a single bunch of scallions can pass through 4 different countries, countless sets of hands, and massive distribution hubs before landing on your plate, is incredibly fragile. We walk into brightly lit restaurants every day and place an immense amount of trust in an invisible global network. The outbreak shattered the illusion that the food on our plates is inherently safe just because it arrived in a commercial truck. It proved that sometimes the most devastating disasters don't come with a warning siren. They come with a side of salsa. Thanks for watching. Stay informed, stay a brain foodie.